Hi there, and welcome to my video essay on the Beavertail Lighthouse and Museum. The Beavertail Lighthouse is located in Jamestown, Rhode Island at the Beavertail State Park. It's available seasonally for the public to tour and learn about its importance and history. This lighthouse has been an important symbol of Rhode Island, as it marks the entrance from Narragansett Bay to Rhode Island, and because of this large role it takes, it has a very interesting history. I thought it would be a lot of fun to explore, so let's get into it. Unfortunately, tours are temporarily closed due to some revamping and due to the fact it is December. Despite this, I was still able to take a trip over and examine the grounds. First, getting there is a beautiful drive. The road to Beavertail State Park is mostly back roads from the Newport Bridge, and once you arrive there, you're welcomed by a beautiful coastline, protected by different kinds of beautiful shapes of rock, and an endless sky that meets an endless ocean. The lighthouse and museum is on 4 acres of reserved land. Walking up to the lighthouse, you can hear a horn blowing and see a light shining. There are several buildings that make up the Beavertail Lighthouse, but the main attraction, of course, is the lighthouse itself. Going into the history of it, it was officially built in 1749, made of wood, and was the premier lighthouse of Rhode Island. The tower, unfortunately, was burnt to the ground 4 years later from an incident and then was quickly rebuilt. Adding on to the unfortunate wreckage, in 1779, after their defeat and the British fled New England, they destroyed the tower's light. Of course, in our victory, it was restored. Years of the lighthouse standing had gone by, and in 1856 it was rebuilt and replaced with granite. And of course, because the other incidents weren't enough, there was a final incident where in 1938, from a huge hurricane, the lighthouse was wiped down. The rock base where it was left is now marked with a granite plaque given by the Jamestown Historical Society to mark its importance. You can see it right here, and there is a compass on top of it with a little placard giving its history. Of course, since then, the tower was rebuilt and has stood since then. The lighthouse is important for many reasons, and for one, it was first to witness triangular trade, which was a large contribution of Newport's prominence before the Revolution. Ships that sailed by the lighthouse carried many of the goods we discussed in class, like molasses, rum, and slaves, which were brought between the colonies. Another major time period that the lighthouse played a role in was World War II. This was really interesting to learn about because I honestly had no idea. World War II is a major example of patriotism and technology advancements for our country, and this lighthouse showcases that perfectly. First of all, its strategic location was a peninsula, so 2 of the main coastal passageways by it are from the Atlantic Ocean to the Narragansett Bay, giving it perfect access and vantage point. In World War II, Fort Burnside was made here, located right on Beavertail Park, which monitored military shipments and watched on the horizon for possible enemy attacks. It was disguised as an innocent farmhouse, but secretly inside was loaded with radar and special technologies, which was a major hub for information. Also, in the bay in front of the lighthouse, there were anti-submarine nets that were stretched across the passageways. This way, if any secret enemy submarines tried to enter the bay, these nets, and did several times successfully, catch them. Alongside the nets, there were underwater communication devices that were looped in the nets and in other various locations, with warning systems that would go off if there were to be anything suspicious. This communication device and nets served from 1942 until the surrender of Nazis in 1945. Since then, the lighthouse has stood as a place of education and its function of history. Walking around the grounds, you can find various placards that explains all of this. And when you go on an actual tour, they take you into the keeper's house, and you can see what their maintenance is and how they came to be there. Next to the building, there's a small aquarium where they have educational stations and sometimes organisms. Public visitors and field trip goers often visit. There's so much to learn about the lighthouse, and they've got it all covered. Even just walking around, you can hear the horn go off every 40 seconds. While this lighthouse may not currently be a top-secret base, it still holds incredible historical value, and it's a beautiful location. I was in awe of what it had, and of course I couldn't help myself but to climb down and look out onto the ocean. While I was unable to go inside of the lighthouse and get a typical tour, I learned a lot and I encourage everyone to go check it out. It's truly beautiful and I could stay there for hours. Thank you for watching.